On today's episode of WatchJRGo, we are here with a very controversial new SUV. Now, this is something I've wanted to drive for a long time, and huge thank you to the new upcoming Eddie's Lincoln of Wichita. They are building it right now behind me. You can hear like hammer drills running in there and impacts as they put this thing together. But we're gonna get out of here. We're gonna take this thing to the shop and we're gonna check this thing out because obviously it's pretty new. The Nautilus is kind of a brand new car and I am very, very excited to check it out. Also, it's way too bright out here with all this snow. So let's go see what it's about. What is going on, guys? I am WatchJRGo, and today, like I said, we are here with the 2024 Lincoln Nautilus. 2024 Black Label. MSRP $79,695. Let's get that out of the way from the beginning here. This is an $80,000 mid-size SUV, and the reason we are reviewing it today is not because it is SUV of the year, because someone in the comments last night on Riley's Lincoln video said it's a shame how far Lincoln has fallen. And I don't really think anyone thinks Lincoln has fallen from the LS. The LS is a fine car. Obviously, it's a partnership with Jag on a platform that I like, but I don't think that was like the pinnacle of Lincoln or anything. Honestly, what is the pinnacle of Lincoln? Are we talking about 60s cars, the big body stuff that's beautiful? Or are we talking about, I guess, the Navigator, right? Because the Navigator was Lincoln for a very, very long time. The Navigator and the Escalade pretty much defined a generation of cars, and it's a cultural icon, right? The Navigator a lot less than the Escalade, in my opinion, but you know, it's a big, imposing car that hauls families around like a champ. Now, this is neither of those. This is the fully assembled in China mid-size SUV. And the reason it's assembled in China is because it used to be in the first generation partially assembled in America, or some of them were assembled in America, but now the American plants are being fully retooled to build Ford's EVs. So they moved all the production of this to China. Now, is it Chinese? I don't know. It's really just a Ford that's being built at a Ford factory that's in China because that's what they had to do to make everything work. I wouldn't really call this a Chinese SUV, but as we get into it, I feel a little bit like, and you guys might feel a little bit like, it's a little bit Chinese. It's loaded with technology and the chimes are just grating. Before we get into this at all, I'm upset by the chimes. They sound like kind of what we'd see in anime or Chinese cartoons or something like that. I don't like the soundscape in this car, and that's why it feels Chinese to me. That and the fact that the brakes, whenever you get on them, feel like they're going into ABS, even though they're not. So we're gonna get into the cons here in a minute, but before we do that, let's take a walk around this thing, because it's honestly very, very cool. Lincoln is trying to leave their demographic behind. They don't want to be known as an old person brand like they were for a long time. They want to be known as the brand with technology forward cars for younger people. And you guys know me, I am incredibly technology forward. There's nothing I love more than a car that's just made out of screens. I mean, you could make the paint out of screens like BMW did at CES that one year, and I would love it. Just make it all screens. Make it see-through like that one Top Gear episode or something too. This car does a pretty dang good job of being technology forward, to the point that it's got a 48-inch screen in it. Let's get into it. As always, we are gonna start with a walkthrough of the exterior, and you know what, we might as well start with the key. The standard Ford key, look at that. So it's the Ford key with the Lincoln logo on the back. It is literally zero different than all the other Ford keys, although it's polished on my Limited, and on the Lincoln, the bottom is chrome. So I guess there's one difference. It's got chrome on the bottom. But everything else is the same, down to the tailgate button that you click twice to open the rear tailgate. It's power up and down. You can open it on the remote start on the remote, and two-way confirmation from the LED to confirm that the car did start. This is a really, really, really good remote. I hate how big it is. I always have. but you get used to it after a week of carrying it around, and it's good at what it does. Now, the door handles are a departure on this thing. The door handles are fully electronic. So taking a look at this great looking door, you can see that these are just like the Continental. And in fact, they're probably the part from the old Continental, where you could have coach doors that were suicide and opened right there, or you could have the standard doors like this. So it's a little switch inside here that I'm not in love with, because you have to really squeeze this thing. The switch, you can see how far down my fingers have to go. That's where the switch is. I don't love it because you need a lot of pressure, and to make this motion you have to crush your hand, right? A normal door handle is no big deal. You just go like that. Like it's really not that hard. On this, it's not that bad, all right? I'm complaining about nothing, but let's be honest, it could be a little different. I don't know. I'm just not in love with the door handle, or pop it automatically like it's a Tesla. And that brings me to my next con. It doesn't have soft close doors, and it doesn't have power open doors or anything like that, but it's $80,000, which is a lot of money for not having those features. What it does have, secure code with a lock indicator, which I like that a lot. Oh, look at that. You can just push it to lock and unlock instead of doing that like you do on all the old Fords. If you look, whenever I do that, it's locking again. So I think, since the remote's in my pocket, it'll just unlock. Well, there you go. That's pretty much all the ways to get into the Nautilus, and a quick overview of the door. Let's talk about the mirrors. This is the Black Label, so it has a black top, and it also has the pearl white tint coat down here. I'm a big fan of this. It's funny that it's a Ford. It's a Ford, guys. It's a Ford color. It's one that they like to put on all of their high-end vehicles. But anyway, black up here. It looks like it might be metallic, or it might just be dirty from the snowstorm here on the mirror, but LED indicators right there for your turn signals, cameras on the bottom with 360 cameras all the way around the truck, blind spot indicator right there, defrosted mirrors. You can see that it's got the little demarcation for the defrost right there, power folding. Everything is in those mirrors that you would expect. They have some technology. The wheels are huge. When I say huge, it is on 22s. You guys know you can't lose with 22s. That's what's up. 255, 45, 22s on a very, very good looking wheel. I love designs like this. It makes me happy, but it does need to be clean all the time for that design to look great. I'm sure it pops when it's clean, but with any dirt on it, like all the snow we have on the road today, well, it doesn't exactly look amazing. Let's come around the front. We have a great looking lighted Lincoln badge. I'm pretty sure it has a light bar all the way across, so let's go ahead and unlock it. Lincoln logo lights. Oh, wow, what a good animation. Good job, Lincoln. I like that a lot. And then let's power down with lock. Looks great. Knocked it out of the park, Lincoln. The whole front end is very, very, very good. LED headlights, as you would expect, all those cool animations for startup and shutdown. Parking sensors all the way around. You can see the ultrasonics all the way through here. LED side markers. Somewhere in here there better be a little place to put a tow hook. I sure hope. You can see the radar hanging out right there at the very bottom, and the front camera right there. And interestingly, Ford is very good at putting sprayers on this, and they did not put a sprayer on that front camera. So it's actually just a little bit dirty already. And I'm a fan of when it has the pop-out sprayer like my truck does. So that is most of the front end of this thing. I like the Nautilus logos on the side. They look really good. The little side skirt kind of accent looks great as well. Coming on around, we've got kind of a subdued roof rack where you can mount some clamps on there and carry something on the top. Loving the design inside the glass here. That is very cool looking. Coming around the back, it looks like we're gonna need to start up and shut down one more time because I think it has a lighted Lincoln logo. So, unlock. All right. Oh, every letter lights up moving out sequentially. Wow, that is sick. All right, shut down. Should fade up the, okay, it just shuts it all off at once. And then it turns back on and then, wait, what's going on now? I didn't push any other buttons. Interesting, but that's a great looking animation. I love the glowing Lincoln logo. Loving the third brake light, that looks great. There is a rear wiper and a sprayer, and they're hidden inside the spoiler, the way everyone's doing that now. Good job on that one, Lincoln. And while we're back here, well, we might as well open the hatch. So, there it is. Power hatch, no trailering provisions or anything like that back here. These are power releases for the rear seats to fold them down. They are not power fold back up. So you do have to manually fold the seats back up if you fold them down. Looks like 12 volts right there. A little hook right here for cargo cover, whatever you need. It's supposed to have, it's not in here right now, but a little cover, cargo cover that comes back and hooks into here and clips into the front there. So here we have a front tag holder, which hopefully no one installs because in Kansas, we don't need them. I like this little Nautilus logo right here and the touches. The back of this thing is plenty roomy. I mean, it's gigantic. You could probably get a third row in here, but this thing is built for legroom, and we'll get into that here in a second. Wow, this thing actually has a spare. It's an 18, but hey, it's got a spare, so that's something. We don't see too many spares these days. We can close the hatch right there. Rubber button, kind of nice. You hear all the chimes while it's closing. Ford's capless gas cap, I hope. Nice, all right, I'm a big fan of that too. I did hear your comments about how it's hard to refill this on the side of the road with a gas can, so that's interesting. I think you could do it, but interesting. Before we head inside, I do want to open the hood and let's take a look at the engine on this thing. So it has two powertrain options. There's a hybrid, and then this one is not the hybrid. They're all-wheel drive, but you can have a 2-liter 4-cylinder that makes 250 horsepower, which is what this one is, with a true hydraulic automatic 8-speed beside it, which is awesome. I know everybody's gonna be cheering for that. It's not a CVT or anything, but it weighs a lot, so you probably don't want to be running that through a CVT. How do you open this thing? I think this is one of those pull twice hoods. It is. I didn't find anything under the top there, so it was a pull twice. All right, so we've got hood struts, no springs or anything like that. An incredibly clean looking, very roomy engine bay that I would be happy to work in. This is nice. Something we haven't seen in a while is a BMW/Audi sized mega headlight. So it starts right there, goes all the way to there, and it's this entire area. It's all headlight. So we haven't seen a headlight that big on the channel in quite a while, and it's interesting. It also feels, it doesn't feel substantial. That's probably what I should say about the headlight, but you probably don't care if you're driving it, and maybe it's cheaper to replace than the multi-$1,000 headlights we're getting into these days. So this is the 2.0 liter 4-cylinder right here, clearly turbocharged. It's got the new boost lines here like my diesel has. Ford Chongqing transmission plant. 2-liter gasoline turbo direct injection all-wheel drive. And it was made in May of '04. So these actually went on sale in the US in '04. In China, they got these in '03. But everything about this looks very nice under here. There's really nothing negative to say about it. Relatively easy to get to everything, even easier than a lot of the cars we've looked at lately. I think this is a car you can definitely work on, even though at this point, we're probably into component replacement and not much else. I bet this engine is cheap. And I'll give them some credit, right? All the other $80,000 SUVs that we're used to had expensive V8s in them at this point, right? The Escalade for years has had a 6.2, and when that engine fails, well, your used one's gonna cost you $6,000, and your new one's gonna cost you $10,000. This thing, I bet it's a handful. I bet it's like 2,000 or 3,000, which I'm not sure, but it seems a lot easier to replace. And it's pretty crazy as we move away from those giant, very complicated emission systems on the V8s to make them keep hanging with current emission standards. They just get more and more expensive, and if you can do it in a 4-cylinder, well, it sure helps you out a ton. Parts are cheaper, you cut them in half, right? It doesn't get much better than that. Probably more reliable. I don't see any downsides to throwing 4 cylinders in these things, and it will save your wallet if you have to replace an engine. So that's about all I have to say under the hood there. It's underpowered. I've put maybe 20 miles on it, and I can immediately tell you that for $80,000, I would be upset with how slow the thing is. It might be reliable, but it's 7 seconds to 60. I know we haven't even gone out on the street and tested it ourselves, but it feels slow. It feels like an economy car when you drive it, and maybe that's fine, but it's probably not fine for the younger crowd that Lincoln's chasing. It probably was fine for the older crowd that was tired of going fast. Cars need to be pretty fast for me to be happy, and this one, it misses the bar by a bit. I do want to show you one other cool thing. If you do get locked out, everyone's gonna be like, but it's all electronic, right? Inside here is a keyhole. So if you have to use the keyhole, you'll pull the key out of the housing, push the button on the key thing like that, and we'll carefully do this because it's not mine. And then you heard it unlock, but how do you open the door if the battery is dead? Is it just, oh, it's just open. Okay, all right, well, that's what you do. So we've pretty much covered all the cons and we haven't gotten inside the car yet. So you know it can only be up from here. Let's head into the back seat first and check out the insane amount of room that your back passengers get in the Lincoln Nautilus. First, check out those door panels. They look incredible. I love the flashing ambient lighting right there on the door. These are of course color changing. These entire panels light up. They look really cool. Brown leather up here on top, really supple white leather here on the doors. It seems like they spent all of the money on this car on leather, and if they did, well, it's probably money well spent. Big door compartments down here in the hard plastic zone. I'm a huge fan of these door pulls. They are incredibly nice. It's a new way to open doors, and I love it. Auto up and down all the way around this entire car. These great looking speaker grills that come with the Revel Ultima system, and honestly, I mean, it's pretty incredible. It looks like Bang & Olufsen. So on the back of your seats right here, you have 2 USB-C ports per passenger. So each one of those seats has 2 USB-C ports, and you've got a nice little map pocket right there that expands out. This incredible leather. All the leather in this thing, I'm telling you, if they spent every penny of $80,000 on the interior leather, they did a good job, because it is as supple as it comes. Super nice seats. They are heated. There's the controls for the rear heated seats, and there's a 110 volt AC outlet down there on the bottom. These vents back here move manually, and all the front ones are electronic and in the menus. So these seats do recline as well. You pull this handle right here and the seats recline. It's got latch, and it's actually an IIHS Top Safety Pick Plus. So they really did nail it with this car. Nice headrests, Lincoln badges in the headrest, which is very cool. And here in the center, I'm not totally in love with this, but this is the cup holder. Because I mean, it looks really, really resilient, like they've thought through the design, but also it looks like it might break one of these years. I'd hold out for that. It's pretty well designed, but it might. And then this will stay up sometimes. So if you like open that and then close that and then open it, I don't know. So that has to actually be pushed shut with the clip if you want the center console to stay closed. So that's about all I have to say in the back. There is tons and tons of legroom. The seats feel incredible. I mean, I can't say enough good things about these seats, other than the fact that maybe they're a little slidey. You might slide around if somebody throws this thing through a corner fast enough, but at the same time, they've got nice high bolsters, and if you lean back, you'd probably be locked in. Huge panoramic glass roof with a rollback cover right above me. Every single occupant also has a height speaker from the Revel system. So that's very nice. Let's make sure. All right, those do close softly. There are hooks on each side for close, and LED lights throughout that are the perfect color temperature. They really did go in on some of the things that matter, right? The interior lighting, perfect. Handles, nice. Seats, incredible. USB-C ports, I mean, more than I could ever ask for. I think there's 8. I think there's over 8 USB ports for 4 passengers. Who's charging that much stuff? I don't even know who's charging that much stuff. But now let's head up front where all of the magic happens in this car. You guys already know this is a car I love from the second you see this dashboard starting up. Woo, look at those huge Nautilus logos. This is all part of the ambient lighting right here. It all looks very, very good. Loving all the leather again. Everything looks the same as the rear. Really, really nice door releases. Big fan of those. And these are cable release. It's not just electronic, so if something goes wrong, you're gonna get out by just squeezing that. It won't be a problem. You won't have to search for an emergency release like you do in a lot of newer cars. Straight out of Ford, right there. This is the one thing, well, two things. This is very, very Ford. It's your lock, unlock, and memory selection, and it's in all of their cars for the most part. The window switches are 100% a Ford product, but with a bunch of extra little chrome trim on them. So you've probably seen that in many, many other Fords, and these window switches are ultra reliable. I mean, none of this stuff ever breaks, but it's a really, really good piece that they didn't want to re-engineer because it works so well. And then the light controls right here are another standard Ford piece that you've probably seen in many, many other Fords. Other than that handful of switches right there, you're going to be hard pressed to find another off-the-shelf Ford part number for this stuff. I mean, they're all Ford part numbers, but they either disguise them well or they made them nicer to go in this Lincoln, and I'm here for it. It is all very, very nice and well done. Again, three-way speakers in every door, which is impressive for this Revel Ultima system right here. And let's head inside and start checking out the really, really, really cool part of this car. And it starts with the seats. The seats are out of this world. Everything's electronic. Features I've never even seen before, like individual knee bolsters. So if you look on the side of the seat, it's pretty incredible what's on here. It is just the Ford seats that are in maybe my F-250, but some extra switches right there for the knee bolsters. Standard massage seat, but the massage is way better. Check out the knee bolster adjustment right there. How crazy is this? How far down does it go? I guess that's it. So they don't quite match up though, which is something that drives me nuts. So now I have to bump that one right there just to make them match. But now it's one thing. Very, very cushy. You can see how much bounce the seat has. The wings are kind of straight out of the new trucks, the Limiteds. This is all really, really good. And once you get into the menus for the massage, this seat is way different inside. At least it looks like it's way different inside. In the trucks, it was just inflating airbags. In this, the seats are a little loud. You can hear the motors running pretty aggressively, but it feels like a full shiatsu massage, pushing in every single part of your back. Downside though, because of these crazy complicated bases, they don't have the massage for your bottom of your legs and your butt like the airbag ones do. The airbag ones have 4 different zones in the bottom that go around a massage there, and these ones, they just left it all out. It seems like it only massages your back, which is like it's an upgrade, but it's also a downgrade. All right, we've covered the seats. Now back to the cons for just a second. I think I mentioned it, it does not have soft close doors anywhere. I mean, the hatch is power, but there's no soft close on any of the passenger compartment doors. And for some reason, Ford's really, really good about this. They did not do lighted door sills. And that is mind-blowing. A black label with no lighted door sills. I don't know if it's an option that's missing or if it's not an option at all, but I'm a big fan of those, and I think they should have been there in a nice glowing white. So the power steering wheel controls for the tilt telescope wheel, the car is booting up real quick. They are actually a standard Ford piece, including this little housing right here, but the turn signal stocks have been retooled for the Lincoln, and they are brown plastic to match the brown carpets and brown plastics throughout. It looks really, really good, the contrast with the brown and white. So I'm a big fan of all that. You've got your eye tracking cameras and the IR LEDs all hiding right there. You can see them on camera. You cannot see them at all in real life, obviously. These are like the Prius, which is very cool. So when your fingers are on the navigators here that don't show anything, the action they're performing pops up here like the Prius used to. So if you guys have been in, I think, a second, third gen Prius, you hover your finger over the controls and the controls themselves show you what they're gonna do up in the screen. And it's honestly really cool. Auto wipers, of course, auto lights, of course. Let's talk about all this good stuff. There's the hatch button right there. There is your cluster dim and brighten. They're separate instead of being a rocker. Kind of interesting there. And then of course, lights off. Insanely annoying chimes. I know they thought this sounded nice, but it's not good. And then there's auto, and then there's lights on. So let's put it back in auto. You can see there's no controls for the vents. They are all electronic and hiding in the touchscreen. I don't mind that at all. You shouldn't ever have to adjust them. So let's turn this thing on. Hit the start button right here. She's gonna wake up. This is pretty cool. Okay, let's clear that one. I'm a big fan of the seat display there. The round seats are very, very cool. And the little road that the car sits on is cool. Here's your fuel all the way over here on the screen, 122 miles of range. Coolant temps all the way over here. Gear right there, even though you also know your gear from the shifter right here. And of course, exterior temp right there, compass, and total miles on the car right there. Sounds like a race car, doesn't it?
Sounds like a 4-cylinder.
It is a 4-cylinder. How'd you guess? Unbelievable. So I love the ambient lighting switching to red the way a lot of the Fords do when the doors are open to tell people not to hit your door. I love the widgets on the dash here. So we have the map, the phone's music that's playing currently, and the weather. I really don't know what this is. I think it might be a progress bar towards 100 mile an hour or something. I'm really not sure, but it's always up there. So that's kind of weird, but these screens look so unbelievably good. Ooh, I like how that turned green now. That's cool. And then if we go here to the widget display, we can move things around. How sick is that, right?
That's nifty.
We want to put music over there, right? I am a big fan of that. It works very well. And the passenger's clock should be over there. I don't even know why it needed to move, because it's always in the right spot.
Yeah.
Like you have your own clock and they have their own clock. Good enough. So let's do tire pressure. I want to see it. Nothing's happening. Oh, sick!
I was gonna say, I figured you could just...
Wow, the reveal for that is very, very cool. So I guess if it's race time, you put that there, you put your music over there, and then maybe the clock a little closer, you know?
All I care about is this.
You just need fuel economy?
I just worry about fuel economy.
And mostly the passenger needs to worry about the fuel economy. But it's getting 12.2. All right, let's put it all back, because I like the way it was, but okay, clock. Cool. All right, well, that's a good setup, honestly. I didn't realize these were just widgets as well, but now that I do, it works out great. This whole car runs on Android 12, which is funny. That is a lot of screen and phone action coming from Android here. So let's go to the vehicle settings here. So we got drive modes, which we can of course pick down here with physical switches. This is a weird tour. I see. So if I just keep pushing it, if I push it, I don't like that at all. Look at this. You push the button and you would expect that it would just keep switching drive modes, but instead it just keeps loading the screen. If you push the button, it should change drive modes.
100%.
Like,
so it only gives you the option to open it, and then you...
That's it. It's open and close.
That's silly. There's not like a...
That's the volume,
What?
the crystal volume. I love the crystal volume though, because you can turn it all the way up and all the way down very fast, right? But let's go back and see all these modes. The modes are ridiculous. Like, let's be honest, these are ridiculous. Normal, conserve, excite, which looks like the Earth's blowing up, slippery, which makes sense, that's a normal mode, and then deep conditions.
Huh. Heavy snow or sand.
I've heard this thing does very, very well in sand, which is funny. Hey, look, when you sat down, it did automatically turn on your heated seat. That's good.
That's cool.
So it did sense that Zach's chilling. He just showed up. Everybody say hi, Zach. He'll be gone as soon as he was here. He just appears. And then let's go to ambient lighting. Okay, we've got green, we got blue. All right, that looks good. I really love how bright it is in the footwells.
Ooh, purple.
Good job, Ford.
Purple.
Good. Wait. Playing with the dimmer here. Yep. Purple. Wow, the purple's too white.
That looks lame.
That's not a good purple.
I thought that was like black light purple.
Yeah, come on. That's not a good purple.
Not at all.
Whatever. The red looks good. The blue looks good. The yellow looks yellow. Green looks green. Purple is like a weird fuchsia. It's not.
Super.
Okay, so you got to leave it on white and be classy, I guess. It's the only option. All right, so that's the ambient lighting. Auto hold. Good job. I was looking for this earlier. I didn't see it, and now I'm very happy it's there. Traction on and off. What happens if you want advanced track off? How do you turn off advanced track? Okay, it says traction off right there. Okay, let's turn on traction and then hold it. Okay, holding, nothing's happening. I don't know if you can actually turn traction off on this thing. That's interesting. All right, so digital scent, no cartridge detected. Let's talk about digital scent real quick. In here, we have the digital scent dispenser. and you push this button right here, and this compartment opens up. There it goes. And that's where you put in your digital scents. And the scents use these contacts to release X amount of scents. And I think they suck air in here, and then they exhaust the scented air out the front where those holes are, or the sides, or the back. Kind of all over. They release the scent all over.
Are you talking? Oh, scent.
Scent.
I thought you meant like change.
Not change.
Scents.
This is your digital scents.
That's legit.
So you've got your scent cartridges. I'd love to put them in. I don't know if I'd kind of want to call the dealership and ask if we could, because
Probably not.
they do start expiring, as any air freshener does.
Probably don't.
All right, guys, Zach and I called to ask if we could open up the scents. We're gonna try. I'm gonna see if we can get permission to open the scents and put them in this thing, because I'm sure it'll be sold in a couple of weeks anyway. So it would be nice if it was all preloaded in here. And I want to see what the scents are like. I want to open the scent menu and it say more than scents not installed. Here in the center console, there's a little pocket right there that I thought slid. Oh, it comes in and out, but you got a little pocket right there. You got 2 USB-Cs and a 12-volt outlet. And then underneath there, I know it's all black inside here, but there's a key pocket right there. There's a place for the key to go if your key battery's dead. So this thing's actually pretty deep and it looks pretty nice. It's a nice center console, pretty big. All right, so the lid is very complex and huge because of the scent distribution. But let's talk about the rest of this. We're gonna work up into the Epic infotainment. So we got a little pocket right here for some storage. It's lighted, it's very nice. USB-C and then USB-A. 2 cup holders. The cup holders are too small. My water bottle will not fit in them. So everyone else's water bottle doesn't fit in them for the most part. You're gonna have to leave it in the seat. So a little unfortunate that that's too small. Wireless charging right here. Not a big fan of this door. Zach and I just played with it for a minute, but it's a door. I mean, it looks cool because of the color, but if you go like this, it should open all the way, and it doesn't. You have to, it's just fully manual. And then it would be fine if it opened all the way like this. That's what we were saying. And then you could like pull it back shut and it would stay, but it doesn't really do anything well. It's just a big cover. Anyway, wireless charging right there. My phone's charging, it's working. Lots of physical buttons down here, which is interesting. So you've got auto start, stop, off right there. Your hazards, your parking cameras right there, parking assistance. So let's load that up. There we go. So it'll automatically park, parallel park for you after you hit that button. Kind of cool. And then max defrost right there. It's got a physical button for that. Camera suite right there. So there's all of our cameras. The cameras are actually pretty epic. You can load corner views over there. Then you can zoom back out. There's back, and then here's forward. And then you can look at just the front camera, which, oh yeah, the Camaro is the front camera. There's 360, and then here is the front wide. And of course, if it's in reverse, you're gonna get all the other views. So there's back, back wide. There you go. There's also a straight down view in the back if you have a trailer hitch, but this is not equipped for trailering. Again, we did talk about this, but there's your drive modes right there. The volume control is lighted crystal. Big fan of it. Push it, audio off, push it again, audio on, and it's a nice volume control. You also, of course, have your steering wheel controls, which we'll get to, but here's the shifter: park, reverse, neutral, drive, low. That's it. We shifted through all the gears that quickly. I don't mind this at all. You're just gonna reach over and hit D and everything works. So stocks here, totally normal. Auto high beams, as you would expect. It's in auto high beam right now. You can see it up there. And then your turn signals. Nice digital sound for the turn signals too. And your auto wipers and rear wiper controls are on this stock. So here on the steering wheel, I'm gonna show you guys what I was talking about. When you float over the buttons, you can see they pop up. They're like trackpad mice. And you can actually push on them as well. So cruise on, push in, up to set, middle resume, follow distance over there. So the buttons aren't identified, but they do a lot of cool stuff. It works pretty well. The wheel is a Squircle, which we should mention. I kind of like the Squircle so far. It's one of those things you have to get used to, because when you're neutrally driving down the highway, it's perfect. Your hand can rest completely flat and it's closer to you because it's not so high. And you also don't have as much leverage over it, so you're not steering as much. You can really just chill with the Squircle. But at the same time, you really have to get used to it. It's very different, and you find yourself looking for parts of the wheel that don't exist because it's square. And of course, over here again, here's our media controls. Show you guys that. We can just scroll around because it's really fun to do. but the middle is play, volume up, volume down. Your voice assistant or the Google Assistant that's built in is the button in the corner there. Hold down for your phone, touch it once for the cars. And since it is Android and it is Google, it's gonna actually work, which is impressive, like Tesla levels of working. So that's a huge bonus. Having Android Auto, the full Android Auto system is nice. I'll give it a lot of credit. The voice commands work and you don't have to take your eyes off the road. So track forward and track back are on the wheel as well, and that's basically the entire steering wheel. These are pods that float, and they're really cool. It's honestly a cool steering wheel design. All right, start stop right there. I think we've covered just about everything. Let's get into the fun stuff here, the giant screens. So we've mentioned about everything that displays up there, but down here, we'll really get into it. So the car settings again, there's the Sense, they're not in there. Here's the seats, all your massage settings. Let's fire up Zach's massage here. Did it? Okay, so passenger, there you go. It is loud, right?
I need recovery.
You need recovery? Okay. But it is loud, you hear it?
Yeah.
It's louder than most of the massages. Valet mode, just passed out. Vehicle status, oil life, 100. Tire pressures, we just saw them. And vehicle settings, this is really nice. My diesel will always force you, it'll always shut the truck off after 30 minutes.
Ew.
And on this, you can just turn it off. So that's cool. This is incredibly annoying in the cabin, and they'll probably reset it, so I'm just gonna go ahead and leave that off. Lighting settings, cool, very nice. Like the auto lamp delays. I mean, there are a lot of settings in here. Rear wiper on and reverse, that's cool. Rain sensing on and off. Courtesy wipe, what's that one do? Wipes the windshield a few seconds after. That should always be on by default.
I hate it though.
You don't like it? Hitting it a couple seconds after just to wipe off any, oh wow, I love it.
When you're driving and you get a good wipe, and then the wind is just blowing everything else off, and then it does it one more time,
and it messes it all up.
Yeah.
Well,
just smeared it, bro.
Look, we're 50-50 on that one, because I like that. I like that option. You can turn on and off the power lift gate. Here's your lock settings. What is a miss lock? Oh, okay, the door's not closed. All right, key free. When you touch a sensor, okay, cool. Oh yeah, and it obviously did wake up when I walked up to it earlier. So if your key's close, the car's gonna wake up, very nice. You can set the door code right there. Quantum Logic Surround 3D. So these are all in the audio settings, and everything's zeroed out for the most part. Speed compensated volume, these are all normal things. The surround sound here is actually really good. Normally I would always shut it off first thing, but I actually like the Revel's surround sound, even the Burmester when I shut it off. This one's actually pretty good, but let's get into the Revel experience. You ready for this? It's insane. It's unbelievably loud. And it sounds like we're fully surrounded.
Play the Dolby Digital.
We don't have the Dolby Digital one, unfortunately. You remember the old Lincolns that they were THX certified, and you could do the same thing in those. It had a button that just said play THX experience, and it would just play the deep note. It would just go, bong, and that was it.
It was beautiful.
It was beautiful, but it was the dumbest button of all time. This one is like a minute long, so it's something. Anyway, we've covered most of the sound menus there. Bluetooth, you can add all the phones you want. Driver assistant, speed limit assist, okay, we don't want that on. That's for sure. Lane keeping is automatic. Rear view camera delay off, that's good. I don't want it waiting to turn on the camera. Auto reverse braking.
Ugh.
I mean, it's not that bad.
It gets annoying.
It does get annoying sometimes.
When it's snowing,
yeah,
it's annoying.
Oh, well then you can shut it off real quick.
Yes.
So that's no big deal. All right, so I think we've covered most of the settings here. We've got Google notifications right there. The built-in phones signal right there. It's not activated, and it shows it's charging my phone right there. In here we've got our Google apps, so Google Maps, Play Store, all the stuff you'd expect in Android. Sirius XM, which is probably over the internet. It's probably not normal Sirius XM. Kinda, oh, yes it is. It's looking for a satellite signal. Okay, so that's kind of cool. Let's go back, and oh wow. The Sirius menu is really nice now. Have you ever seen it look that cool?
I've never been a fan of Sirius.
Well, still, whether you're a fan of it or not,
yep.
It's really nice. So all the stations have their art. So that's Sirius XM, very nice, and it is still over satellite, so I'll give it some credit there. A lot of people seem like they're bringing in all the audio over the internet now. And just like that, Zach
in and out, baby.
He's gone. He's done with the Lincoln. Messages goes to your phone. CarPlay, obviously gonna open my phone. Hotspot is the car's hotspot. And the owner's manual can be brought on screen right there. Kind of cool. It's probably loading up a bunch of PDFs. There you go. I guess it's sure a lot nicer looking than blank PDFs. Hey, the massage shut off automatically when he got out. Impressive. What's in the games? There are no games installed. All right, podcast, news, and YouTube. That's it. And I guess YouTube only when you're sitting still. And of course, it's gonna need internet and the phone isn't activated. But that's really nice. Being able to watch YouTube sitting in the car is actually a great feature and should be pre-installed on all these things. The only other thing I want to touch on is the climate. It is dual zone. You can see the temps 66 and 66. Well, there's your seats. So heated and cooled seats, heated steering wheel, everything you'd expect. If you move the climate, it's very simple, and right now it's in sync. They're both moving at the same time. Auto fan right there. There's your fan speed in the auto right there. So you can have high, medium, low. I always keep it on low. Max defrost can be a button or on the touchscreen. And then of course there's rear defrost right there, AC on and off. And then this button loads the big climate menu. And the big climate menu is incredibly cool. Are you guys ready for this? You can hit motion and then look down in these vents. I'm actually gonna throw some light in there for you. This is unbelievable. Fully oscillating vents like a fan in a room. This is so nice. Definitely one of the coolest features I've seen. I mean, obviously lots of cars have had a single direction oscillation, like the Mazda Millennia or the Mazda M2000 or something. Some old Nissans, Toyota Crown, I think. Many of them have had motion vents, but these are dual direction motion, and it is unbelievably cool to see in a car. So there are your vent controls. If you need to move a vent around, you slide it around on the touchscreen and it moves in real life. So hopefully you can see that it's moving all over the place as I move it on the screen, and that's it. You can have passenger motion, you can set quick on and off body, which everyone loves that. Nobody wants the vents blowing in their eyes, so that's super nice. And you can close the vents like that. It's honestly just really, really, really good and really innovative. Oh, look at that. There's the PPM for the air coming through the cabin. That's sick. So that tells you what your air quality looks like over time. So that's the climate menu. You can have fresh air coming in, or you can set it to recirc just like that. Really nice. A couple different auto positions for where the air is going if you want. And there's your sync and unsync for the climate controls, the zones. That's it. That's all the climate. It all works really well. It's pretty easy to understand, but you better drive it for a minute before you get used to that. It's not something you can easily get into and get used to. It took a couple frustrating minutes to get used to this, but after that, I'd say it's fine. The 48-inch screen is absolutely incredible, and the other thing I should go into for you guys here in the settings, somewhere in the settings, are the themes, and the themes are definitely very, very cool. So theme is Constellation right now. Let's set it to Tranquil. Okay, so it just went ahead and took all the color out of it in Tranquil. It's just got a little hump right there. And here's Constellation. It loads up and it's pretty busy. You've got like a moving galaxy through the screens. Definitely cool. Here's Engage. Ooh, italic numbers. So just italicized mile per hour. Here's Inspire. A little bit warmer. It's got some planets going on here, like a surface of Mars. And that's it. That's all the themes. And of course, CarPlay is in there. Can't forget that. And you can, oh wow, you can full screen CarPlay. Nice. That is actually really cool. That's a lot better than the way my Ford does it. We have come so far in so few years. This is really, really well done. And that is the infotainment. I know it was a long time talking about the infotainment. At this point, I skipped tons of screens because there's, you know, a million settings in every one of these things. Nobody wants to go through all that, but I try to hit just the high points and where things are really cool or something you haven't seen before, like these themes that are pretty crazy. Now, they did not make the glove box electronic. They didn't go full Tesla on us here, so we can just hit this. Soft open, very nice. That's the glove box. Plenty of storage. There's more storage under here, pretty big. You could probably shove a purse under in the lower center console there. You might have to cram it in though, because there's not a big opening. There's a lot of space, but only like a 4-inch opening under there. So while there's storage, it's not insane. A really nice frameless mirror right up here. A very forward sun visor. You can tell their HomeLink, their standard HomeLink, their little parking pass holder right there. These, of course, slide, do everything you want. Really nice LED color. Nailed it forward. Really killed that. And another parking pass, toll pass right there. So that's actually pretty cool. You can hold a lot of stuff on your sun visor. Sunglasses holder right here. This is a forward center console for sure, but dressed up. Here's our panoramic glass sunshade right there. This big badge says auto air refresh. It's interesting. The interior lighting right there. Ultrasonic passenger sensors right there and right there. And it downlights the console there, and then that's the reading lights / interior lights there. And let's open this thing up. That is a big sunroof. There's no doubt about it. That's a huge sunroof. I like it. All right, it's all full auto. I mean, they did all this stuff right. It works just the way you'd expect. I don't know if it feels like 80 grand. It feels like a really, really solid 50 grand. I don't know if this car feels like 80 grand. The sunshade would go back farther as well, so that the back passengers can look right out the roof too. So that's about it. I think we've covered everything in the interior. Seat belts, you can adjust them up and down. They got the little squeeze right there. Here we go. Look at that. The startup is exactly the same as the shutdown. So cool. Pretty interesting that this won all those awards when it doesn't feel like 80 grand. It feels good. And the system, we should talk about it for a second. It sounds incredible. There's no way to demo it so you guys can hear how good it sounds. So it plays low while maintaining a ton of output, playing very low. And also the vocal clarity is just in your face and unbelievably loud. I mean, I've heard plenty of louder from factory systems, but they're never clear at those volumes. This one's actually, like, it's not crazy output, just unbelievably clear for the output. It's probably like a 1500 watt amplifier on the audio system, and a whole lot of channels to make the magic happen in here. So that was a walkthrough of the Nautilus. Now let's get it out on the road. Why did the chime just change? Why are there so many different chimes? I hate the chimes. The seatbelt chime is, I mean, it will make your brain hurt within seconds. And it does it for every seat, not just the driver's seat. I mean, the chimes are painful. Here's the seatbelt chime, guys, and it is absolutely unreasonable. It echoes back and forth through the car because they wanted to make it 3D. I do want to mention the ambient lighting. This cabin looks incredible at night. I know the camera's doing its weird light deal right now, but incredible at night. It's so bright. And I mean, it's not like eye-offendingly bright. It's just really, really pretty in here. So giving them some credit for that. I do wish you could pick more colors on the ambient lighting, but you know, at least you can pick colors at all because Ford took that away from all their cars for a little bit. Time to do our 0 to 60 here in Mexico. So light dropped and full throttle. All right, that one took way too long. 30, 40, 50, finally 60. Whew. It's not quick. Blue Cruise works so well. You can see it says hands-free right there on the dash. There's a semi merging on. We're gonna get out of its way. I'm just gonna touch the turn signal. Preparing lane change, changing lanes. That was magical. And I love the way this delineates its different ADAS modes. Right now it says hands-free over there on the dash. And when it wants you to drive, right now it just decided keep hands on steering wheel, and the icon changes, which is definitely one of the best versions of this I've ever seen. So it's gonna catch this Acura here and slow down. You can see it's already slowing down. And any second now, it should switch back into Blue Cruise. There it goes, hands-free. So it's incredibly nice the way it jumps in and out of that. And even when it's in keep hands on wheel mode, it's still driving. And for some reason it wants me to watch the road, even though I am watching the road. Adaptive Cruise is doing an amazing job just pacing this RDX. In general, this is a really, really slick experience for jumping in and out of hands-free and supervised driving, all these different modes. Obviously, you gotta watch the road no matter what, but this is really, really good at handling it. So I've talked about quite a bit of the driving already. I'm a big fan of its ADAS. I'm not a big fan of it being a hair slow. It's probably fine, let's be honest. A 7-second 0 to 60 isn't insane, but when you're spending a lot of money, I started expecting numbers like 5. So I know it's a truck, I know it's meant for your family, but 2 seconds quicker is actually a gigantic difference. And I don't know, maybe Lincoln needs like a racing division. If we could have an SVT Lincoln Nautilus with a 3.6 EcoBoost in it, it'd be an insane platform, let's be honest. If they put a real Ford truck drivetrain in it, 10-speed, this thing would be nuts. But it's fine. Fine is the best way to describe it. Unbelievable audio system. Like I said, it's heavy on the tech, it's heavy on all the things I love, but it needs even more tech to make me really love it, which is tough. I see how they tried to get all the way there, but you better put soft closed doors on it. It needs 4 zones or at least 3 zones of climate control. The rear seats aren't cooled. The bottom of the seats don't massage, like I said. It just seems like it's missing so many important things for the price point when you could buy, I know it's not fair to compare it, but you could buy a 10-year-old used F-150 King Ranch and have all of this, which is nuts. So you'd be buying that for a third of the price too. So anyway, that's the Lincoln. I don't need to say too much more about driving it. The 22s are oversized because this car is a little small for having 22s on it. So you do feel the road a bit. The ABS issue is honestly a big deal. I know it's not ABS, it's just weird how the brakes work, but that's a really big deal. And it could be faster. It does turn in well. I got into my test on ramp, wide open throttle, and it was having 0 issues. In fact, I couldn't get fast enough to even get close to the tire limits. So, I mean, it handles as you would expect. We've gone through the pop and the wrap, and now we're on the Stevie Ray Vaughan, guys. And I think this could be an $80,000 audio system. I mean, it's up there. It's like Burmester high-end levels, right? The most expensive Burmester. That's probably a solid comparison for this thing, which is impressive. The low-end extension, the longer I listen to it, I'm like, they really did it. It could still get about 2 decibels louder. It gets loud. Just, it could be a little bit louder. You can still talk over it, right? Or yell over it. And the JBL Pro and the Old Sequoia had so much output that you couldn't yell over it. And that's usually my judge for if there's enough output. So if you can still have a conversation at the top of your lungs, it's not loud enough. And there's some resonance in the door panels. The door panels are shaking a little bit when the mid bass hits, and only at certain frequencies. And then every once in a while that subwoofer comes out of nowhere and you're like, whoa, wow. It's got some extreme low end extension, but only sometimes. But the mid bass is always there. The clarity is unbelievable, even in its weird 3D mode. It's the first time I've ever left a 3D mode on, honestly. It could be an $80,000 audio system. I think they charge $4 for the option. So if you're buying it for something, if you just like music and want to cruise around hands-free on the highway, it's really got you covered. Well guys, there you have it, the 2024 or the 2nd generation Lincoln Nautilus, made in China. I don't know, the more time I spend in it, the better it feels, but the way it drives, I'm just not in love with it. It should feel heavier. Like, they say it's unapologetically luxury, and yeah, it's super nice, but like, it should have so much more. For 80 grand, you know, the 80 grand you're spending at BMW, not really Audi, because I feel like they never put enough technology in, but at BMW or Mercedes, you're getting a lot of car for that money. And for this, I don't know. I drive it, but I feel like it's underpowered. I feel like it needs soft closed doors. I feel like it should have lighted door sills. I feel like the brakes shouldn't shudder and make you think it's in ABS. It's got just this tiny vibration. That's the only way to describe it. The tiniest, like ABS was 3% on is what it feels like when you first touch the brakes. Kind of weird. And I don't know. The technology works really, really, really hard, and I love it all, but is it 80 grand? I don't know. Tell me in the comments. I also don't think it was the downfall of Lincoln, and I also don't think it being built in China really meant anything either. So that is it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to head on over to shop.WatchJRGo.com for cool shirts, not like this. And please like, share, subscribe, do whatever you want to do, and I will talk to you next time. It may not have a lighted carpet, but the grill being projected on the ground from I don't know where is it coming from? That is so cool. Another epic lighting effect. All right, it's fading on. Is it under the mirror? Ah, yeah, there we go. That's, that's cool. The navigator and the escalator.